There are a lot of things in the teenage years that are pretty transferable all across the board, but once you get towards the end, there's this really weird phase, which is the junior and senior year, whenever they're ready to launch and you aren't ready for them to take off, where they're counting down to blast off and you're counting down to break down, where they want to lean away and you just want to lean in and smother them. And so we want to talk just a little bit about what to do in the junior and senior year, because juniors and seniors, they're motivated by trust and freedom. And so your job in this season isn't to be quite as much of a coach, it's to be more of a guide. So this is where you help guide them as they learn and launch into this next season, because they need space to fail, to space to try on their own, space to be where you can be that safety net for them, to catch them. And so the biggest two things that you can do in this season is to help them learn and to launch. And learning means consulting them from time to time. So that means like consulting them on things like boundaries and rules that you set together. And you can create the rules, you can create the boundaries, but then allow them to consult and to have some input into those as well. And you can take or leave their consultation, but you've still allowed them to speak into those things. And so have conversations around what an appropriate curfew looks like. Have conversations around phone usage, about going to parties, and things like that. Like, allow them to consult on rules and boundaries. And also allow them to consult on situations. Like, if they want to go to a party and they're going to be open and honest with you about what's going on there, create a way, create a system of how they know to get out if something goes south at that party. Create a way where they can pull the ripcord and to get out of a situation that could be bad, in a safe place with you there to help them. Like, create a way for them to have that safety net to catch them, because whenever they go off to college, into adult years, they're going to get in situations, and you want to have taught them how they can get out of those situations. And also, learning means learning from trying, but a lot more, it means learning from failing. So when they fail, when they mess up, when they blow up, when they lie, and talk through those failures and use it as a place to learn. Like, the goal in this season should not be to never fail. The goal should be for you and your house to be a safe place for them to fail. And then help them how to figure out how to solve their own problems and their own failures. Like, you should not be the helicopter parent that is protecting them from anything bad never happening, but you also shouldn't be the snowplow parent that goes in and fixes every problem that your kid has. If they have a problem or a failure with a coach, man, teach them how to go have that conversation with that coach. If they have a problem with a teacher or failed an assignment, man, teach them how to go have that conversation with that teacher. If they have a blow up at work, teach them to go in and have that conversation. Don't do the work for them. Your job is to teach them, to equip them, to help them learn through their failures. And also in this season, without fail, I've seen it happen where a lot of the learning actually comes from your failures. And I know you probably never fail, and I know you probably never make a mistake. No, I'm just kidding. Every one of us are going to make a mistake and are going to fail in this season, but use that as a way to help your student and just admit when you're wrong. I mean, I'll never forget my senior year. I was leaning out and ready to launch, and my dad was leaning in and didn't want me to go, and we had our biggest blow up and our biggest fight, and afterwards we didn't talk for 2 weeks. And so after 2 weeks of silence, we got in a car together, drove down to the gas station. My dad was filling up my car with gas when all of a sudden he gets back in and says, your mom told me that you said you never wanted to be like me. And that really hurt when I heard that. But after I was thinking about it, man, I don't want you to be like me. Like, I want you to be better than me. I want you to be a better man than me. I want you to be a better husband than me. I want you to be a better fighter than me. I want you to be a better person than I am today. And I remember leaving that situation thinking, man, my dad and I just had our biggest fight, but man, I love my dad more than ever. And that's one of those moments that has defined our relationship for the future, because I got to learn from our failure, from our blow up, from our fight. And that wouldn't have happened if my dad didn't come in a humble position and help me to learn from his failure. So let them learn from their failures, but also let them learn from yours and admit when you're wrong. So teach them how to learn, but then also in the season, man, your job is to help launch them. Launch them into adulthood. Like, this is where they become the men and women that they've been becoming for their entire lives. So initiate him into manhood. Initiate her into womanhood. Take a trip together. Go camping, just the two of you. Write a letter where you tell them how God sees them and how you see them. Help them launch into their gifts by calling out their gifts. Let them know what you see that they're good at, and not just like basketball or soccer, but let them know whenever you see that they're good at leading others, when they're good at fixing problems, when they're good at working with their hands, when they're good at being creative. Call out that character, those good gifts that you see behind the sports, behind the school, behind things like that. Help them launch into their purpose by exploring their passions with them. Help them launch into this next season by being their guide, by helping them learn, by consulting them, by learning from their failures, by learning from your failures, and then help them learn by letting go in this season. Because at the end of this, launching will hurt. But when they blast off and you break down, you'll know that you did everything in your power to help them learn and launch in this season. And then you'll finally be in the good spot, finally be in that zone, which gets to be friends for life, which is the goal for the next season.